My name is Katie, and I had the honor and pleasure of being the instructor for this year's Engage cohort. Woo! And we had a completely sold out speaker series this year, so thank you so much to all of my fantastic students. I'm also a graduate student at the University of Washington. I use DNA sequencing to better understand how we can detect cancer early. And so I would like to mention that the best way to keep up with Town Hall's program is to become a member. Membership offers downfront seating, discounts on book and ticket purchases, and a mailed copy of Town Hall's monthly calendar, and it provides the support essential, bringing you more than 400 events annually at affordable ticket prices. And now to our third and final guest. Why and how do numerous tree frog species live where they do? Our next species, Our next speaker, who is part of a species, will discuss the variation in body shape, swimming speed, and behavior in Mexican tree frogs. So please give a warm welcome to Itzue Caviedes Solis.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks everyone for coming to my talk and everybody else's talk. It was my pleasure to take this class. Just have the opportunity to talk about your own research with everyone. It's always enlightening. So let's start by talking about, do all frogs swim alike? So first I would like to ask you, are frogs important?
Yes.
Yes. Really important. Thank you. I like the enthusiasm. So frogs are really important, and they are important for multiple reasons. So first I would like to say the basics. They are important. So they're important to me, obviously. I like to say that frogs are the love of my life. Sorry, Brian, I love you. And then whoever doesn't believe in love at first sight is because they haven't been in the forest searching for frogs. And that's what happened to me. So when I was an undergrad back in Mexico, I did this field trip when I found this species of tree frogs. And the first time I hold a hand, it's so cheesy, but it was probably what parents feel when they hold their babies. It was just so touching and so emotional that I decided that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And here I am, 10 years later, finishing a PhD degree in a different country. So I do love frogs. But they're also important for the ecosystem. Frogs are a really important part of the food web, just like Haley help us understanding. So they eat insects, they get eaten by other organisms, so they are important too. They're important bioindicators. Here we have an image. One is asking, hey, you're a toad, right? And the other one is saying, no, I'm a frog, affected by chemical pollution. So they're so sensitive because their skin is permeable. So what happened to them is what will happen to you if you go into a pool that is super polluted and then you absorb everything through your skin. And everything can go straight to your organs, straight to your heart, straight to your blood system. That's what happened to them every time they're in a lake that is polluted. So when they are not there, you know something is really, really wrong. This is what happened to frogs when they have really strange conditions in the water. They get malformations, they can reproduce, they can eat. So it gets really ugly really fast. So yes, they're important. Now let's get back to the topic. Do all frogs swim alike? But first, let's talk about climbing. So who here climb or have a friend who climb? Nice. This is Seattle, right? It's so trendy. Everybody wants to climb. So now imagine that climbers use all sorts of weird muscles and weird parts of their bodies to hold into vertical surfaces. That's really amazing. And then imagine that you spend your whole life in the high. So you sleep there, you eat there, you're so comfy, your life is great, and then suddenly Mother Nature will tell you that your romantic life and the whole future of your kids depends on your swimming skills. That doesn't seem fair. So you still try, because no one wants to live alone and nobody wants to die, right? So you still try. So if you're a triathlete, that might be a piece of cake. They can swim, they can ride their bikes really fast, they can run, they have muscles to do all these different things. But if you're someone like me, that might not be that exciting, right? I can barely keep myself afloat, I'm scared of water. I realized I couldn't be an oceanographer because I just super scared of the ocean. So it gets really tricky. So for us, luckily, it's not that hard, right? You make it work and you don't need to climb mountains. Well, sometimes you do, but it's not that complicated. But for frogs, that's reality. They spend 3/4 of the year high in the trees, and then they need to come down to the water to reproduce for the rainy season, from anything from a week to 3 months. So tree frogs are majestic animals. They're nocturnals, they're secretive, they are really, really interesting creatures out there. And they can survive in different habitats by having different locomotion types, which is how they move. So they get their name from their capability to climb trees and vertical surfaces, and they do this using special structures in their fingers called toe pads. They also jump, like every other frog that you run into here in Washington as well, and they also swim. And they do all this with the same body shapes and the same muscles that a triathlete will use when they do all the activities. So they do that with their 4 legs, 4 fingers, and 5 toes. They can make it all happen just with that. And they have been making it happen for millions and millions of years. So why is swimming important if they are tree frogs? Well, it's important for reproduction because they breathe in the water and their eggs doesn't have a shell. They don't have a shell like for chickens or other organisms. So they need to be moist. It's important because their life cycle includes 2 phases, one in the land and one in the water. The first stage is when they are tadpoles. They look like tiny fishes, they're really adorable, everything is nice, they can swim with their tails, they eat algae from the ground, from the bottom of the lake. But then things start getting weird. They start growing back legs and they are using the tail at the same time as they are starting to use their legs, and then their hands are growing in those pockets that you can see in the head. Those are the hands starting to develop. So on top of that, they have this flouting system going on, so they go like this. And then finally the hands pop up, and then it's even weirder. You have 4 legs, but you still have a tail. Do you go outside the water? Do you stay in the water? It's a lot of decision making. Also, water is a dangerous place. So who here knows what's that organism there? Any guesses?
Wasp.
A wasp? Yeah, what is it? Yeah, that's a dragonfly larvae. So every time you see a dragonfly, you can say, they're so beautiful, look at them fly, so majestic. And then everything I think of when I see one is like, they eat my tadpoles. And they look really evil when they're underwater. So water is a dangerous place.